Okay, we're going to go through the Reva mission. I'm going to do a detailed analysis pretty much of mods that I use and the strategy. Now the modding, I've seen people do a lot of different things. There's a lot of different ways that it can work. I'm going to point out what I use, and I'm going to point out some of the things that I think may not be necessary on some of the other guides. So Grand Inquisitor, well, let's do the turn meter first. So we're going to start with Seventh Sister. She's the first one that's going to go. On her, I have a speed set and a potency set. On the circle, the cross, and the triangle, and this goes for everybody out here, there needs to be a protection primary. I use a speed on her arrow here. So she's the fastest right now, 332 speed, protection of 85,000. Potency, she's got an added almost 24%. Tenacity, that would also be a decent secondary to put on. I just didn't have the mods to put on her. But potency is going to be the biggest thing with Seventh Sister, and high speed, so she goes first. Second is going to be Grand Inquisitor. Now, a lot of guys like to put fifth in as their second fastest. I do Grand Inquisitor, and I'll point that out why when we get into the battle. But he also has a speed set, potency, and then protection on the circle, cross, and triangle, speed on the arrow. So he's the same as Seventh Sister. So he's got an extra 52,000 of protection. He's at 327 speed, extra 24% potency, extra 12% tenacity. The next in your turn order is going to be Fifth Brother. Now you'll notice on mine I actually have a health cross down here, and that is not ideal. You'd want to have a potency cross, but we're not gaining any health, because that's the other big thing we are not going to do, is have any of our mods having large health increases. We want to keep that down as much as possible, because damage over time is dependent upon your health. So everything's protection. Here you can see I've got 110,000 protection, 323 speed. He's third in my order. Extra 23% potency, extra 11.5% tenacity. The tenacity comes in good on initial stuns. I probably should have a little bit of tenacity on Seventh Sister. I just didn't have enough mods to make sure she had that. Next in your turn order is going to be Eighth Brother, or if you're running Second Sister, you'd want Herd being fourth. On this one, you still are going to have protection primaries on your circle, cross, and triangle, and a speed primary on the arrow. But we're going crit damage and crit chance. And the reason why is we want him to hit. He's going to hit pretty hard, and the beauty about running him over Second Sister is that Second Sister's big hits are dependent upon removing stacks of purge so that she can get crit damage up to land her big hits on her middle special. We don't want to remove purge. We're trying to add purge to everybody that we can here. So that's why Eighth Brother works better. I've got mine at 101% protection, 314 speed, so he's fourth behind Fifth Brother. Potency still another 8% because he does land decent debuffs. 15% tenacity. Crit chance 98.48%. So I do have some crit chance secondaries, as well as a secondary, or as well as the set for crit chance here. So So the first 4 guys are all the same, with the protection on speed, or the protection primary on the circle, the cross, and the triangle. Same with ninth. Ninth also has a speed primary on her triangle. And the reason that I still run speed, even though a lot of guys say that speed isn't necessary, is because that speed helps your guys get through on their second round to start taking out Jawa Scavenger. Now the difference here is we have 3 defense sets of mods. Now the guys that are running a defense set on the other guys, I've even seen crit avoidance on that arrow. They're putting their assets into keeping them alive. Now the thing we're going to do here in this strategy is we're going to keep our guys alive by keeping the thermal detonators off of us, which means we need higher potency. So protection, 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 and then straight defense for ninth. We're not worried about her potency too much. Although it is useful because her basic applies purge, which is what we're after. 138,000 protection, speed 271, not super fast. Got an extra 4% on potency, tenacity 9%. What is her armor here? Got her up 15.6% on armor. So she's decent with the armor, and you need her to have good armor to absorb all the hits. Okay, so we're gonna head in here, and I'm gonna go through the basic rules, that if you follow these rules, the modding's not going to be that important. There are different ways you can get this done as long as you follow these basic rules that I'm gonna point out mid-battle here. You'll notice with all those protection primaries, we're not taking a lot of damage. Okay, so here's the trick here. We've got Seventh Sister ready to go first. We're going to always use this middle ability here. That's the one we're going to use first, because if you look at it, it says right there at the very last sentence, this ability can't be evaded or resisted. So no matter what, she's going to inflict 1 stack of purge. Then she'll inflict an additional stack of purge for each buff dispelled using this ability here. So we've already got 2 stacks of purge on Nebbit. This is going to be your second big rule. First big rule, middle special ability with 7th. Second big rule is you always target Nebbit. You do not get off Nebbit until you get 6 stacks of purge. Once you have 6 stacks of purge, Grand Inquisitor gets an immediate turn, and then he can apply his ability that puts torture on, and with 6 stacks of purge, everybody gains tenacity up. That means I can't switch over, but the scavenger sitting behind him in stealth, he applies a thermal detonator every time you guys attack anybody. So once we get tenacity up, his thermal detonators can no longer apply. So we're going to use this second ability here. We're going to remove the taunt. And because he had all those buffs, he is already at 6 stacks of purge. That's the quickest I've ever seen it get to 6 stacks. Most of the time, when I use this turn meter order, she only can remove maybe 2 or 3, sometimes 1 stack of, or one buff. And so Nebbit is usually still sitting here at 3, sometimes 4 stacks of purge. The reason you want Grand Inquisitor going second is because in this position right here, you would use his basic, And if he's got 3 stacks of Purge, he's going to attack twice. Grand Inquisitor, with his basic ability, is guaranteed to apply a stack of Purge with each basic attack. So he's going to put 2 stacks on. If Nebbit only has 3 stacks of Purge, he will put on 2 stacks to get him to 5, and then the assist from Seventh Sister, who hopefully has high potency, will have a better chance of applying that 6th stack, which would immediately give Grand Inquisitor another turn to apply torture. In this case, we lucked out and got our 6 stacks right here, so we're going to torture right now. And this is why you put Grand Inquisitor as 2nd speed in your turn meter or your turn order. If you put 5th Brother in your turn order, well, hold on to that thought for a second. Okay, so we just applied torture. If you have 5th Brother ahead of Grand Inquisitor in speed right now, he would have already went and possibly not got them 6 stacks of Purge. That means it's going to take a whole nother round to get back to him before he can use this middle special ability to erase all the buffs off the remaining Jawas. Otherwise, if Grand Inquisitor somehow didn't get the 6 stacks on there to inflict torture, we would only use a basic. And at every time, this is another rule in this event, every time somebody goes that can do an AoE, if you do not have tenacity up, you do not use the AoE, because that would apply 5 stacks. Well, actually, no, it'd be 5 stacks for each Jawa of thermal detonators to everybody on your squad. So if you're only using basics, like what we would do in this case, you would only apply 1 stack of thermal detonator instead of 5 to your entire squad. But since we have torture, we're going to use his middle ability and remove all of the stacks, or all the buffs, which in turn removes stealth from Jawa Scavenger. Once Jawa Scavenger is killed, they can no longer apply thermal detonators to you at any point throughout the rest of the battle. So at this point right now, 8th Brother is going. He's 4th in your turn meter. He can now use his AoE, which, since he's in stealth, has a chance to apply Purge to everybody on the field. So we'll go ahead and use that one. There's some potency from 7th that put an extra stack there on Jawa Scavenger. Now we're going to go ahead and use the AoE, just because we want to keep her under taunt. Now we get to this point, 7th Sister's next turn. It's tempting to want to put your protection up on 9th Sister. Instead, we're going to go ahead and put it on 7th Sister because she's the lowest health. So we're going to heal herself up here. And now we will immediately see why that was a benefit to her. She's now full protection. Since we have 7 stacks of dots on us, we're going to go ahead and use Grand Inquisitor's AoE now. Some guys will wait till 8 or 9, but 7 is really a good number to use this on, because we're going to go ahead and prevent us from taking any more damage from the dots. Okay, so you'll notice we didn't get a whole lot of protection generation that came up with that AoE, but it did bring up 9 Sisters, and everybody else is still pretty good and safe. So in this case right here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm pretty sure this one doesn't apply any stacks of Purge. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and use the basics so we can get another stack of Purge. We'll use another basic here. Another rule here, we don't ever want to use this middle ability against the Jawas. We don't want to take those stacks of purge off. Okay, Scavenger's gonna die here now. Who's the next one? I guess both the Jawa and the engineer are pretty low here. So really don't matter. I mean, once you get that tenacity up, it's pretty much game, set, match. As long as you don't make any mistakes anywhere. And it's pretty tough to make a mistake after you get the torture put out on Nebbit. I don't like seeing them stacks of dots get so high here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wish we wouldn't have been able to put them stacks of purge on so quick, because I didn't get to really show you guys a whole lot of the problems that we end up with if we don't get stacks on quick. You notice nobody got stunned. I don't really get a whole lot of problems with guys getting stunned here. Sure wish I could have had Ninth Sister a little faster in the turn meter or turn order here, but okay, so I'm not going to use the AoE here. I did see, I think it was Bantha Herder said that this pirate over here got after him once he got to this phase. He's got fear currently, so we're going to go ahead and just stick with a basic. I never even go after that pirate leader. It's just everything at JMK here. Now in this situation, we don't want to lose 7th. I'm going to go ahead and heal her back up. We're going to get 2 turns here with Grand Inquisitor. He will guarantee to put on 2 stacks of purge on JMK, which means he's going to get another turn immediately. May as well send out the average there. Put the armor shred on. You can see the big hits from 8th with that crit damage set we've got on him. I mean, I've never had any problems once you get past the Jawas. Really never had any problems once you get the torture out from Grand Inquisitor. I think I covered pretty much everything here and why this method works. So if anybody needs to, I'll be available tomorrow to stream if they need any help. So keep it up. Let's get some more of these Reva shards.